All right, Addison.
Hello.
Addison, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Florida. I wasn't born there, but was there pretty much my entire life.
You're a Florida kid?
Florida girl all the way through. I'm very warm-blooded. I can't stand it.
North or south? Because they're different.
Sort of in the middle. So I'm a couple hours from the fun parts of South Florida, but still on the beaches.
And tell me about your family growing up.
My family was interesting. My parents divorced when I was pretty young. It was quite volatile after that, through probably until I was 20.
Stayed with mom?
I did. I kind of bounced back and forth. It was quite the messy divorce that went on for years and years and affected me and my brother quite a bit. So it was kind of playing each side all the time. And living with my mom was a lot.
Who are you closer to, your mom or dad?
I'm closer to my mom. I don't really speak to my dad. So he had problems with alcohol and everything. And he remarried when we were pretty young, which I didn't enjoy at the time. But it's all fine now. But
sure.
Yeah, so my mom was a single mom, so that was hard on her, as I assume it would be.
How would you describe your childhood in general?
Anxious, and I was scared a lot of the time. My mom was quite angry for a very, very long time. So it was just constant craziness in my home environment. It was just fighting and yelling and cops being involved. And so just quite the crazy life I had through.
And I have to ask this because of your line of work. Mm-hmm. Was there any kind of sexual abuse or anything crazy going on in your childhood?
There wasn't. And I think people kind of tie those together sometimes.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. But for me, I think part of the reason why I leaned toward this was I was on the internet probably way too young.
Oh, really?
Really. I was doing a lot on the internet when I was definitely way too young. You know, all those websites like Chat Roulette and Omegle and all those very weird corners of the internet were not good for someone.
How old were you when you started?
I think the first time that I ever went on one of those websites was, I was early elementary school. So, yeah.
And you were talking with older guys?
I was talking to anyone. I think that in a way it was comforting and fun for me to talk to people without being face-to-face when I just wasn't really enjoying my home life.
Well, the anonymity of social media or the internet is just a recipe for problems.
Yeah. Those places were so weird and so unmonitored back then. It was just not the best place for someone to be.
So what kind of things were you doing online?
Well, on those websites, things get a little weird. So when I was younger, I definitely know that I did things that were not okay for someone of my age to be doing, unfortunately. But at the time, I just thought, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm having fun.
Which makes you pure gold on those sites, right?
Yeah. So it was just kind of going through and doing all the weird, creepy things they would ask me to do, like take your top off and all of that. But I just thought it was the most fun thing in the world. And I did more than those websites, too. I would go in chat rooms and everything. I just loved being on the internet, and I loved any of the attention that I could get from anyone on there.
Was it the attention that you liked best?
I think it was the attention, because ever since I was really young, I felt like I had a lot of insecurity about my looks, and that didn't really diminish for me until I got older, in my 20s. And I think that was sort of a way for me to just get rid of that and feel good about myself in a way, maybe. But yeah.
Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.
How's it been going since you've been doing therapy for the last couple of months?
Oh, it's been great. I've done therapy my whole life. Since my 20s, I think I've done therapy on and off throughout. A lot of people look at therapy as like, oh, there's something wrong with you if you're doing therapy. The way I look at it is there's something really healthy and right about you if you're speaking to a therapist, because you're able to, like, we all go through things in our lives that just make things difficult. And if you have someone, especially a professional, to talk about it, it just makes your life better. It just calms things down. Your anxiety, your depression, your anger, they all seem to subside, and that's a really healthy thing. And with BetterHelp, what's great about it is no matter where you are, you can be in Alaska, you can be in the middle of Kentucky, you can be anywhere, and you can connect with a therapist, a professional who's really going to help you out. And we all need it. And sometimes if you're not in New York or LA or San Francisco or Chicago, you're stuck without those options. But now everyone has that at their disposal. And you can do this all from your phone or computer, just a phone call, a video chat, or messaging, however you feel most comfortable. It's the easiest possible way to start talking to a therapist. You'll be matched with a therapist usually within 48 hours, and you can get started right away. So let BetterHelp connect you with a therapist, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/soft white underbelly or choose soft white underbelly when you sign up and get a special discount on your first month. And now back to the video. And then what kind of teenager were you?
In high school, I tried so hard to fit in, and I feel regret about that a lot because I feel like I wasn't ever myself, and I lost friends because of that. The high school hierarchy is not real outside of there, but it feels so intense when you're there, and that pressure to just fit in and be popular, and that really got to me. So I was kind of just a try-hard in high school, but I was still also dealing with all of the stuff at home. I was pretty depressed.
But were you like one of the popular kids?
I wouldn't even say that. I feel like I tried so hard to get there, but I was just on the edge of it. It was like I would hang out with those people, but they didn't really like me.
Or maybe you just didn't feel like you belonged.
I think maybe that was it as well. I had friends in all different kinds of groups, but I felt like I never really fit in anywhere, which was not the best feeling in the world to feel when you're 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, how old are you now?
I'm 25.
25.
25.
At what age did you get into doing like sex work, porn, whatever?
I think the first time I ever did anything that you could label as sex work was I was 18, and I went on Seeking Arrangements, which is like a sugar daddy website. And I just started messaging a bunch of people on there. And then I made a Tinder, and I set the age very high. And the first experience I had was someone, I don't remember which website it was from, but one of them bit and took me out shopping, and it was a very uncomfortable experience.
Uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable because I was thinking to myself while I was doing it, like, why am I in public with this much, much older man and playing girlfriend? It was weird, but then I kept doing it because at the time I was pretty broke and the money was nice. And I don't think I ever did anything sexual with any of them until I was maybe 20, but that's kind of how I started exploring outside of just being on the internet.
And did your parents know, or do they know about any of this?
No.
How about today?
Well, today they know what I do now. So I think all of the things in my past just kind of, they don't need to know.
And how does let's just ask about your dad. How does your dad feel about what you do?
He's indifferent. I think he was fine with it. He just...
No dad is fine with his daughter doing porn.
Yeah. I think he just pretends like it's fine, maybe. But he's always just said, as long as I'm happy and doing well, then that's fine. But we honestly don't speak very much, which is, the cliche where the girl doesn't talk to her dad. But...
So how did you get into it?
I got into...
I assume the next step was doing some kind of on-camera thing?
Right. Yeah, so, I kind of would go on and off with the sugar daddy thing for a while.
They don't last forever, do they?
They don't, no. They like to go away. But, I went back to school, and then I was a preschool teacher for a while.
Really?
Yes. And then I started camming, which, going back to my roots. I love being on the camera, I guess. And I started camming and did not expect it to be so fun. And I thought I would be so nervous and I wouldn't be successful at it. And it was just going to be some embarrassing little blip in my timeline where, I pulled my tits out on the internet and didn't make any money. But it actually took off rather quickly. And I remember the first night I did it, there was almost 10,000 people watching my room.
How'd that feel?
It was a rush. It was something I felt like I was looking for maybe for a while, something that was that exciting and that entertaining, and something I felt like I was good at, which was entertaining the room as well. And then from there, it kind of became addicting. I was so obsessed with it. It was so fun. And then the money from that is a lot different from the money you make from preschool teaching. So then camming continued. And from there, I rolled into making content and having an OnlyFans, and then continued on into making mainstream porn.
How does the porn, so you're doing porn and OnlyFans now, basically?
Yes.
How do they compare?
OnlyFans is just your own thing. No one has to tell you what to do.
You could be a hermit living in your apartment.
Yeah.
Doing OnlyFans, right?
Really.
No friends, no life, but you're making $1 million.
Yeah, that was me for a little bit. They're different in, I guess, the freedom that you have with it. Like with OnlyFans, everything you make is yours. You own it. You're not signing anything away. It's all yours. You're in complete control. And with studio or mainstream porn,
They own it.
They own it. They own it, and, they tell you what to wear. They give you a script, all of that.
And it'll live on long after you're gone.
Yes. They can do whatever they want with it. But I think what I like so much about it is that there's almost sort of a legacy that comes with very successful porn stars. People don't ever forget household porn star names. And I thought that was something that was really cool.
What is the reaction from your fans that know you in the porn or OnlyFans world?
The reaction to starting...
Like if somebody runs into you at a grocery store and says,
Oh.
Are you Addison?
Yeah.
What's your last name on?
Vodka.
Addison Vodka. Yeah. Are you Addison Vodka?
It's only happened a few times.
Really?
And funny enough, it's only been at a bar. Multiple bars. But those are the only times I've ever gotten recognized. And the last time it happened was probably my favorite. This person came up to me and was like, "Are you Addison?" And that just felt surreal to me because I was like, sometimes I forget that the people that watch it are real. So seeing that in reality, it's a good feeling, but it's a strange feeling because I'm just sitting there enjoying my time, and then he's like, "I love your porn." And I'm like, "Yes, thank you. I appreciate that."
And you're making good money on OnlyFans?
Yeah. I mean, it's my full-time gig now, so I'm very grateful to be where I am with it.
And is it growing?
It does grow. It grows with everything that I do. So.
And is it like pretty much a full-time job to keep the content going and replying and promoting and all the things you have to do to it?
Yeah, it's definitely a full-time job. It's like your child. You just can't ever leave it alone.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, most people have managers or something, but to me, I like to keep it real and myself. That's what's important to me, and that's
and keeping all the money.
Yes, that's nice too.
You're not sharing it with some dude who's
I think that
your agent.
Yeah, the way that I started was just being myself and talking to people online, and I like to carry that through on all of my platforms and everything. So to me, it doesn't feel right to let someone else be me.
And you enjoy it still, just like you did when you were in elementary school?
I enjoy it more now, I think. This really changed my life in a lot of ways. I think it helped me grow as a person and in a lot of ways mentally. And it's just something that I owe a lot to at the same time. You know, as I said, being insecure was something that I struggled with for a lot of my life, and that came out in relationships and everything. And it was a lot to do with my physical appearance was weirdly my insecurity.
You're perfectly beautiful, but you still have insecurities. Which is common amongst really beautiful women.
Thank you. I do have insecurities still, but putting myself out there this way and just letting it all out there, so to say, definitely gave me a different kind of confidence that I didn't even know I needed. And yeah, so it feels good to be able to be confident.
Is there a confidence or maybe just a sexual confidence that comes from having done, I don't know, I've never seen your porn, but I assume you've done it all?
I have done it all. And
you're doing it on camera for the whole world to see.
Yes.
That's got to affect your confidence in some way.
It does. It definitely affects your confidence. Sometimes sexually, it gives me a very big boost of confidence. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm, the best sexual performer in the world.
No, but you know that you can make a guy happy.
Yeah, so it was just a really crazy change with myself.
And there's no, do you feel like I've interviewed some porn stars and porn actresses, and there's an element of shame in their psyche.
No.
None of that.
None of that. I think I got that out of the way.
Good for you. How did you have it at one time and you got rid of it? Or it seems like if you were enjoying it as an elementary school.
Right. I mean, I think that this is just, I remember when I was in middle school, I would always say, I wish I could just be a porn star. It looks so fun. I don't want to do anything else. That just looks like what I want to do. Maybe I was just manifesting it in some way, but.
No, I mean, I after doing so many interviews with people like, in the periphery of what you're doing, I've learned that there are some people that are just, their personalities are meant to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're cool with it. They're comfortable with it. They're good at it. This is my thing. This is my lane.
Yeah.
Whereas other people are like, I can do it. The money, I need the money, so I'm going to do it. But they have to drink or do drugs to deal with it. And there are tons of shame and there's tons of guilt.
I think that if that's where you come from with it, then just why, in a way? Because for me, I don't feel any shame about it. And I think that when I first started camming, there was a little bit of shame where, I was still living in my small town and I didn't want anyone to see it. I was nervous. I was so scared that the people that I saw at the grocery store or at the bar would see me taking my top off on the internet. And then one day a switch kind of flipped and I was like, why do I care? That's awesome. I should be happy about that.
I mean, there's many different ways of looking at what you do.
Yeah.
But one of them that is very relevant is everybody in the world does what you do.
Yeah.
It's not like you're doing something. It's not like you're killing puppies or kittens. You're doing what everybody else is doing behind closed doors.
Right.
You're just doing it on camera.
Exactly.
You're not hurting anybody, really.
No.
No, I'm not a fan of porn I will never say that I'm a fan of porn. I think it's very destructive for men. But aside from that, it's like you're making good money. Mm-hmm. You're safe. I'm sure it's very, like, everyone's clean and chef and all that stuff, right? Yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah.
It's like you're really not hurting anybody.
No. And, to each their own. I think that, if you feel good about yourself, that's what matters. And if it gives you confidence, if it gives you freedom, if it's something that you enjoy through and through, then you should never feel shame about it.
And I'm sure there are going to be some comments on this video saying, oh, let's see what she looks like. Let's see where she's at when she's in 10 years or whatever.
Right.
But the truth is, in 10 years, you won't need anybody or anyone's money.
Maybe in 10 years, I'll still be going.
You probably still will be, but you could probably retire.
Yeah. I mean, MILFs have a great longevity with their career.
Yeah, I don't know that world, so maybe you're right. But I just see how the world has changed so much because of technology, but mainly because of these kind of
Yeah.
options for women.
I mean, it's crazy to think that this whole online realm and career path didn't exist before, because it's so oversaturated now. There's so many of us, and it's awesome, but it just blows my mind how much money the whole business itself rakes in. It's just a wild thing to grasp.
Well, it's crazy how many men are spending money on this stuff.
A lot.
I hear every once in a while, I'll hear some number about how much money goes through OnlyFans every month. And
It's an obscene amount. Yes.
Insane amount.
Yeah. Yeah, it blows my mind too, and I'm in it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, I don't know what I would, like, I have two daughters that are a little bit younger than you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know, like, if they came to me and told me they wanted to do what you're doing,
Yeah.
it would kill me.
Yeah.
It would kill me. But if I wasn't their dad, it'd be like, well, shit, it kind of makes, like, if it was a, let's look at it this way, because there's such a stigma to sex.
Yes.
There is such a fucking religious stigma to sex in the
Yeah.
United States and probably
Yeah.
other countries too. But if the hustle, instead of taking off your top or taking off your clothes on camera,
Right.
if instead of that hustle, it was mowing lawns.
Right.
And guys figured out, oh my God, if I mow lawns, I can make $300,000 a month
Yeah.
or more. What every guy in his right, like every guy you know would be like pushing a lawnmower.
Yeah.
We'd all be like hustling, pushing lawnmowers because it's a great hustle. They'll make a
Yes.
shit ton of money in this world that's very competitive and cost of living is very high.
Yeah.
But you're a very attractive woman, and so you can do this thing, which is fairly easy, I assume.
It's easy, but it's not easy. You know,
But the money is incredible.
comparatively, yes.
You know, what other options? You could be what? What kind of straight jobs would you do?
Well, I was in school
You're a teacher.
I was a teacher, yes.
Making a fraction of what you're making.
Not a lot of money. But, you know, I think that it is unfortunate because people look down on what I do or what people like this do. But, you know, some people do this because of the money, which is what we already said. And that's not exactly why I'm into it. That's just a bonus for me. I didn't expect ever to make more money than I made from my teaching job. But yeah, it's crazy that, you know, all those jobs that you go to school for, that you sit there from 9 to 7 p.m., you're not going to come anywhere near to what some people are making doing dirty things on the internet.
With no education.
Yeah. Yeah.
No training even.
No training. Yeah, it's a crazy gap, you know, which.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying earlier about the comments saying, oh, let's see what happens in 10, 15 years for her.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is just the hatred of seeing an attractive woman doing what you're doing. People just hate that stuff, especially the religious, part of our world. Just
I think
get
that
really upset about it.
There's different sides of women in porn. There's some that look like the girl next door, and those are the ones that get the comments like, "Why are you doing this? You're better than this. You don't look like you're supposed to do this." And then there's the other side where there's like girls with a lot of tattoos and girls with, you know.
You're one of the formers, which is like you don't look like you should be doing porn.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like if I didn't know what you did and you were here for something, I would never, ever, ever suspect that you're doing porn.
Yeah. I hear that a lot. I think that's kind of fun.
And I'm sure that's why you are probably very successful.
Yeah, it's sort of that girl next door thing, I guess.
And so those commenters are going to say all these negative things about you, like you're never going to get a man because of this.
Yeah.
But the truth of that is, there's some guys that are going to appreciate you even more because you do this.
Yeah. I mean,
you make yourself almost more attractive to a certain type of guy.
I mean, I think that it's, it's an independence and a confidence thing that, to me, is an attractive trait of being able to do something like that. And everyone's going to have something to say about anyone,
It's very triggering.
I think that a woman who feels confident and powerful in her choices, then that's one of the most attractive things you can have.
Sure. I'd agree with that. Is the porn industry still strong?
It is. It's very strong. It's unexpectedly, I think I said that already, but so oversaturated. There are so many girls that are just constantly coming in. And of course, there's sort of a high turnaround rate, you could say. Girls come in when they're quite young, 18, and then shoot a few scenes and then leave. But yeah, there's just so many. And it's such a crazy world. I had no idea it went so deep. You know, there's like prestigious awards and there's just, it's just all so crazy. I had no idea the levels that went into that industry at all.
What are your goals? Do you have goals?
I do have goals. I would definitely, goals include a list of companies that I would like to shoot for. I would like to be able to, win awards. And personally,
What award would you like to win?
Well, I would like to win Performer of the Year.
Performer of the Year.
At some point and go into the Hall of Fame. That would be pretty cool. And any award would be fun to have, just some porn trophies on my shelf.
So you're all in.
Oh, I'm all in. Yeah.
It's not like you're just getting your feet wet and being like, oh, that was a mistake, I'm going to get out.
No.
You're going to be all in.
I've been shooting for a year, and every time I shoot, I just feel like I improve, and the success of it is almost addicting. And it feels really good to be good at it.
And so romantic relationships in your personal life, do you have that?
I do. I'm actually in a relationship, so he's not in the industry at all.
How does he feel about what you do? Because pardon my French, but you're fucking three guys throughout the day, and you're going to come home to him, and you guys going to go out to dinner?
Yes. It's not for everyone.
No.
It's not for everyone.
That would be hard to be drinking at dinner, I'll tell you that.
It's actually much more common than you would think. Majority of the most successful women in my industry are married with children that no one ever sees. People would have no idea that they have partners. People would never know that they have children. And I mean, the lives are separate. The person that I am online and when I go to work, I'm playing a character. It's acting, and I'm just good at acting.
No, but you could have pursued, what do you call it? Just a straight acting gig.
Yeah.
You're super attractive. You're probably a good actress.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you on camera, but you're telling me you're good, so I believe it. But you could have pursued that and probably maybe been successful. Doing commercials, doing TV, doing anything.
I know it never occurred to me because I was shy. That was also something that this helped me with. I was a very shy person. I could have never. I used to have panic attacks doing a speech in front of a class.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I don't know how I got
was
here.
The most horrifying thing of my life.
So being an actress never occurred to me because I don't know. I think I was too nervous about it, but. That's another thing that this...
But if you had that confidence early on,
yeah,
you may have said, no, I don't need to do porn. I could do legitimate acting.
Right. I might have, but...
And was it that your parents dropped the ball and didn't instill that self-confidence and self-worth in you?
I think that everything being the way that it was when I was growing up, my mom having to deal with so much being a single mom and just... being angry, and a lot of that coming out, even if she didn't mean it to, it was, I think that maybe that whole environment just created a lot of insecurity. It was just, I never felt super secure all the time. And I'm grateful now that my family has miraculously mended itself, and at least my mom and my brother. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't blame them for anything because I don't feel like where I've gone is bad. And I know some people would, and some people are going to be like, oh,
no, people are going to judge and say all these negative things about what you're doing.
It's your horrible upbringing. It's this,
but
it's
I've learned this after interviewing so many sex workers that there are some of the sex workers have, and I've seen this very clearly, and I know that this is their attitude. They believe they're doing something good for these men.
Yeah.
And that's it. Mm-hmm. There's no shame about like, oh my God, I'm doing something evil or bad or anything. Like, they don't have any shame over it.
Yeah.
Men have a problem. I know how to solve it. End of story.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And they don't wear this terrible thing on their,
Yeah.
they don't have this terrible thing that doing sex for money tends to bring.
Right.
Do you think you're addicted to the fast money that you're doing now? Like, can you separate sex from money?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I don't.
You don't have to.
I don't think I'm addicted to it at all. You know, I've been working since I was like 14. I've hustled a lot. I had like 3 jobs when I was in high school. I've paid my own bills my entire life, done it all. That's hence why I started trying to find a sugar daddy when I was like 18, needed to pay for college. But I don't think I'm addicted to it. I mean, it feels really nice to be comfortable for the first time in my life. Like, some days I don't have to really do anything, which is insane. But yeah, and sex for me has always been something that I've really thoroughly enjoyed and has been a big part of me. So that's still very the same for me, regardless of how often I do it in a different way. That's not as real, you know?
It's helpful that you can separate what you do at work, regardless of how many and how crazy that is, from maybe what you do with your boyfriend.
Right, yeah. And, you know, I like all the crazy stuff, so that works too.
He's got to have an open mind. That's all I can say.
He does.
Are there any negatives to this for you?
I mean,
there's always a negative to everything.
I know, but I don't even know what it would be. I'm happy. I'm secure. I enjoy what I do.
It's almost like an endorsement.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to.
You can't be.
No, I'm not. I'm not telling
sex work.
I'm not telling anyone to do it because.
No, but the truth is the truth, and if you're not feeling any shit about it, and you're making good money,
it varies from person to person, and this is not. I mean, I guess it's me saying that porn is good for me. I'm not saying that porn is good for, you know, some 18-year-old that comes in. I personally think that's too young. But yeah, it's different for everyone. Everyone has their own experiences, and for me it's I've gotten to move to California. I've gotten to have this whole, it's almost like I have 2 lives. It's kind of fun. I get success and fulfillment, and
it's all positive, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, like, it's all positive reaction. Nobody's saying, "Oh, you're a slut."
I mean, maybe some people, but I'll take it in a good way.
How crazy does your work get?
Pretty.
Because I've heard with porn, a lot of, like, you have to push the envelope of what.
Mm-hmm. Pretty crazy. I haven't gone as crazy as I would like to yet, but I'm still going. I think some of the craziest things I've done is, you know, piss play, I guess you would call it. Drinking it, all of that. Really rough.
Swallowing it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I've done some CNC bondage, really rough things.
What is CNC?
Consensual, non-consensual.
Oh, right.
So it's like
played
rape.
On the edge of rape.
Yes, yeah. And all of those things I very much enjoy. I don't know where my sexual mind got so twisted, probably from those early years on the internet. But
there are going to be 50 comments saying, "Oh, something terrible happened to you when you were 12."
It really didn't. And if it did, I would say so. But
I think some people are just wired differently.
Yeah, I don't know.
God bless you.
Thank you.
I mean, I hate porn. I think it's one of the worst things for our society, but I think what you're doing is pretty okay.
pretty okay.
Not 100%, but
It's okay. At least
you
you're not
seem happy and healthy. You're certainly
Yeah.
beautiful. You're not using drugs or drinking or anything like that.
No. Yeah. And I think that's another thing that people assume is that that's still really heavy and prominent in this world, but not really. Everyone's pretty normal. Everyone's, a lot of them, like I said, have families.
Is the porn industry as dark and screwed up as the reputation it has?
No. It's, there's dark corners everywhere.
Sure.
But, if you're doing things the right way and you're smart and don't do something that seems really sketchy and I've never had anything bad happen.
I mean, the interviews I've done with people in that industry, they all seem pretty together and they're making money and they seem happy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that it used to be a much darker place, but as time went on and people started speaking out and social media became much more of a thing and people getting canceled and all of that, I think that really brought some more rule into the world. So it's pretty good from what I've seen so far.
Does your lifestyle lead you into socializing in a way that's a little more adventurous than?
I think so, yeah.
So what kind of parties will you end up going to?
I've been to one that was here in LA. I've been to a few in New York as well, but they're sort of elitist sex club parties where you're not allowed to bring your phone in, you have to sign up and get approved and have a STD test and everything, and then they take your phone when you go in and you have to wear a mask. It kind of feels like the movie Eyes Wide Shut. And once you're in there, it's just this crazy performance circus and people are performing on tables and it's dark and there's candles everywhere. It just felt almost ritualistic in a way. Once you're there and it kickstarts, it's just everyone is having sex everywhere, all over the place. It's so wild. People will just come up to you and you just go right into it. I didn't really think things like that existed, but it was quite the experience, and I've done a few since then, so very enjoyable. And what's interesting about it is the mask part, because there's a lot of people that don't want to be known that they're there. A lot of upper class, celebrity-esque people, which makes it feel a little more exciting, I guess.
How do you know that they're there?
You can tell. People will take their masks off and such, and people will start to whisper. But yeah, it's very crazy how deep those parties get. Some of them are a little much, but yeah.
What's your attitude on porn? Do you think it's a good thing, or is it something that corrupts our society?
I don't know. I mean, I've been a consumer of it for a very long time. So I think that I can understand where people say that it is corrupting.
I think it's very bad for men.
Yeah. Why?
Because what's important for a man to develop, like teenagers are watching porn.
Right.
And at some point they're going to become full-fledged men.
Right.
But they've never developed the courage. It takes a lot of courage to approach a beautiful woman and say, hey, would you like to go to dinner sometime?
Yeah.
Can I have your phone number or whatever? They never develop that because they can get everything they need by just sitting there privately in their bedroom on their laptop doing their thing.
That is true.
And that really undermines a man's ability to do what he needs to do.
Right.
To be a man.
I think that in a way, I can see where that would be something, but at the same time, I think that, confidence just still should be there, even if...
Well, for some men, they have it naturally, but a lot of men have to develop it.
Right.
And they never get a chance to because every woman they ever interact with and have sex with is on a flat screen, not in their bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it has progressed in a really interesting way. I don't know what that looks like for men, especially in this day and age. You know, porn is different now than it was back when I was younger. It's everywhere. It's on every avenue. You can talk to them on any platform. And I don't really know what that will do to people developmentally or things like that. But I guess that's kind of just the future of it. We'll see what happens.
Our society's going to hell in a handbasket.
I mean, if a man wants to be a man and put himself out there, I think that he can, and he can work on that.
Yeah, but there's a huge temptation to never have to do that.
Right.
So easy. Free.
You don't think
it's free.
You don't think that
because what you have, what attractive women like yourself have, is what I believe the ultimate commodity in our society.
Yeah.
More than money, more than power, more than anything. Because a rich man will easily pay for whatever you have to offer. But so you have the ultimate commodity, but the guy can get that from you for free just by going on your OnlyFans.
Right.
Or watching your porn.
Right.
And that just throws a wrench in the whole operation.
You don't think that the want and need for something physical or real do you think that that's just totally detrimented by people?
Well, it's not just that, because you have a good point. There is that. Like, I would rather have a live woman in my bed than
right.
a screen of a picture of a girl.
Yeah.
But there's also the fact, like men that never build themselves into being attractive male mates.
Right.
For a female, can pardon my French, can jerk off to a girl like you every night of the year.
Right.
And that would never, ever happen if there wasn't porn.
That's true.
Those kind of guys would have to either build some muscles, build some brains, build some talent, build some balls, basically,
yeah,
to become a man that a woman would be attracted to. But they don't have to do that now because they've got a website that they can go to.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's really bad for men.
Right.
Men never develop and turn into courageous men. Mm-hmm. They turn into little snowflake weaklings that like to jerk off a lot.
Little incels.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess I just see such a wide spectrum of men.
Sure. And there's always exceptions. There are guys who are young and have somehow avoided the traps of porn. But
and I think that, I've talked to people where they spend a ton of money and a ton of time on there, but one day they'll message me and be like, hey, I've met someone, I'm leaving, goodbye. And I guess for some people, it's not as much as a fun little hobby. And I guess that would play into what you're saying. It becomes overpowering in your life.
It becomes a crutch.
Right.
And you never have to develop the courage.
Yeah. And, of course, it's also addicting in a sense.
For sure it is.
But it's kind of just like any vice. I think that and I know people won't agree with that because, but to me it's like smoking and fast food and all of that, anything can become addicting, and that's kind of where self-control comes in.
I've been in scenarios where you're in a restaurant or something, a bar, and you see a guy him and his buddies are looking at this 12 that's down at the end of the bar. And they're just like, they can't stop looking at her, can't stop thinking about her, can't stop talking about her. But none of them have the balls to go up to her.
Right.
And what's going on through their heads is, what? I could either risk everything by going up and talking to her and shaking and being nervous and all that, or I could just go home and jerk off to a girl that looks very much like her.
Right.
That's a terrible thing to have to fall back on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've never really thought of it that way, but I don't know. To me,
I can tell you as a guy, it's a terrible thing to.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Well.
But I'm not. I love the fact that you're making kick-ass money, though. I love seeing a female.
I think that
makes money.
Unfortunately, yeah, sort of the way it's going to go for some people, but
Well, I mean, there's also the fact that, like, you're not doing anything illegal.
no.
We should say that right up front.
No,
You're
no.
not doing prostitution that's illegal in our country.
No.
But it's almost treated like something that is.
Yeah, it's definitely.
You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's treated almost like you're doing something bad and illegal.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is, you have a commodity that is probably maybe the most valuable commodity in our society. But you're not really allowed to sell it
Right.
without shame or ending up in jail or having a prison,
Yeah.
a record of something. So you're not free to just sell what you have.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm a really good photographer, I can sell that
Right.
that service,
Yeah.
and I can make all the money I want.
Yeah.
But because you have this talent that's equally, maybe even more lucrative, but you're not allowed to sell it without the stigma, the shame, the guilt, the crap that all the crap that goes. It's just not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair to women.
I mean,
It's just sex.
it is. It's
just
just
sex.
sex. And, it's always putting it out there outside of your bedroom will always be taboo to people. People aren't comfortable. A lot of people aren't comfortable.
You think we're all just too uptight about sex in this country?
I mean, I don't think everyone is, but
No, not everyone. But
yeah. And what's crazy is that now, because of social media and OnlyFans, it's like sometimes if you tell someone you have an OnlyFans, it's not as taboo as it used to be.
No.
But yeah, I think that I don't know if that will ever change. I think that sex, a lot of people hold that as something intimate and private. And that's wonderful. That's amazing. I think sex is a beautiful thing. And I think that that's something that, however you want to hold it, should be held. But I don't think that there should be anything wrong with people wanting to put that out there. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it is religion.
It is.
Religion
It does.
has made sex this terrible bad thing that only a husband and wife can do, and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And I'm not a religious person, I guess, obviously. I was when I was younger, but to me, religion is something that never has made much sense. And
You can still be a really great human being
yeah.
and be very promiscuous.
Yeah. Being promiscuous is fun.
It's not like being promiscuous makes you a bad person. It just makes you
Right.
someone who gets a lot of judgment.
And that's another thing with religion. I think that, it's a lot of the values and the morals, and it's a sin, all of that. Doing what I would do or is just the worst thing in the world to someone that is religious.
Let me ask you one more question, Addison. What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your 26 years?
25.
25.
Don't age me.
Sorry.
The most important lesson, I think, is that confidence is really important. I think that, caring for yourself and giving yourself confidence and anything of that, taking care of yourself is the best thing you can do for yourself, and you have to be your own best friend. It'll take you places.
That's great. I love that. Addison, thank you so much for
Thank you.
Addison Vodka.
Addison Vodka.
Oh, God, look out. Thank you very much, Addison.
Thank you.
Even though Soft White Underbelly consists of a lot of videos, it's really still a photography project to me. And if you appreciate the photography, sometimes it's difficult to enjoy it when it's scrolling down the screen, which is the only option I had in this horizontal format on YouTube. So last year we came out with the first Soft White Underbelly book, which is a collection of the best portraits from the thousands of interviews I've done. Each portrait in this book is accompanied by an interesting quote from the person's interview.
Oh my God.
There's more.
Wow. These aren't as bad as I thought. I look like a witch.
I will not be reprinting this book when it sells out. So once it's gone for good. You can order yours at softwhiteunderbelly.org. $125, $150 for a signed copy. And thank you for watching.